We all love the story of the inventor, the person who came up with something that changed the world. And the harder it turned out to be for them, the more we like the story. The sort of Tesla, George Washington Carver, nobody believed in them, and then after the fact, we can all see it. And it's great that we celebrate those things. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. But that's not as useful to the people who are just trying. And there's so much luck involved, so much beyond the horizon that we can't see about how the world might be. What we really should be doing is not just celebrating the few people who turn out to succeed. We need to celebrate people who are doing the right thing, who are being audacious in a way that makes us proud, that tends to lead to those kind of outcomes, whether in the end they win or not. That process is this diagram, these three circles that we have. That's what we're proposing as the sort of structure that could be celebrated. That you have a huge problem with the world that you can point at and say, we want that gone. Then to be able to say, here is a science fiction sounding product or service that if we could make it, would make that problem go away. And then, crazy as that sounds, here is some reason to believe that we could make that crazy science fiction sounding product or service. I hear so many people say, well, that's awesome, but that's not us. You know, the small companies say, that's cool, but that takes so many resources. That can't be us. That's got to be a big company, maybe. And the big companies say, no, but we have too much to lose. That can't be us. That's got to be the little guys because they have nothing to lose. They can go crazy. And academics say, we like to think big, but we can't actually system build. That's not our job. And governments, they say, yeah, come back and talk to us when we have a surplus again, but probably not in this lifetime. Everybody thinks it's somebody else. And we have all these mantras like slow and steady wins the race, and easy does it. And that's okay, I guess. But that's not really how we're going to solve the big, hard problems in our world. It's going to be by being audacious and creative and changing the way we see the problem itself and then attacking that new version of the problem in ways that make people's heads spin, make our heads spin a little bit. That's what it's going to take to solve some of the really big problems. So that's what we're hoping to do with Solve for X, is to create a stage for audaciousness, to celebrate the people who are thinking in that way, who are not only being audacious, but can describe their audaciousness in a way which is well-formed and inspirational. So both the event and the website, that's what we're looking for. Megan maybe is going to tell us now a little bit more about where we go from here.
Right. There's one of my favorite book titles is an Alice Walker title that is, We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. And it's all of us. It's not just those of us in this room. It's like all of us on the planet. I love Peter's X about abundance. 3 billion people are joining us, and it's not a market. It's our colleagues. It's our teammates. It's talent. And so one of the other parts of Solve for X is not only this approach, but the community that it takes to do it. Not only the lead person who's so passionate, I've been lucky to do a lot of acquisitions and work with so many entrepreneurs at Google, and I just feel like entrepreneurs, they're sort of in their DNA to do what they do. They're just passionate, the leader, the founder, and then the people who come around them are extraordinary. You can't get anything done as a founder if you don't have the team. So I guess what we want to talk about quickly is about sort of the community of us, and sort of thank you all for joining us on this adventure. In this room, we have a lot of commonality in that you guys, everybody here is a leader in entrepreneurship or passion or the field that you've explored. You're really taking it very far and thinking differently and thinking in this kind of action-oriented way that really raises the bar. But we also have a lot of diversity in this room of different kinds of topics that people are interested in, be they medical or energy or space or humanity and humanitarian social change, other areas. But also, we come from different parts of the world. Okay, one of us has been outside of the world. We also, different races, different locations, different ages. Some people, have just come out of school or even just left school and given up on school. Some people are, I think Bill Gross has done 100 companies, and he'll be here tomorrow. So this great breadth. One of the most important things that I think is happening in the 21st century is how talent is coming to the table and diversity is coming to the table. And if you look at the 20th century, it has such extraordinary things that happened, but one of the ones that is characterized is by the Cold War, which is the idea of winning and losing. There's like a zero-sum game in that century, and I think the 21st century is very much, I say sustainable abundance in my X, is about this win-win-win, all boats rise. President Clinton calls it creative collaboration. It's how can we federate in the way we do something Wikipedia together, how we federate to do these things and take the talent in each of us and put it together. So part of bringing together this community is not only have this stage so that some extraordinary people can tell us amazing proposals that they have for us in this world, but how can we then help them? So the format is we're going to have talks, and we call them exploration sessions, 3 or 4 talks in a row. And then we're going to break out. There's double tables around. So idea 1 gets those 2 tables. Idea 2 gets those 2. Idea 3 gets those 2. And then we'll brainstorm for a while, and then we'll report back out. So instead of your traditional conference where you hear a talk and then you go for coffee and you try to move it forward that way, we want to actively move it forward. And we're borrowing from improv. I don't know if you've done improv before, but when you do improv, you're not supposed to say no. And you can't keep it going if you do that. And so we have a rule that when you're brainstorming, we want you to do 2/3 yes and, which means what would you do if you were suddenly on the team with this person, you had to do this idea, you had to make this happen, how can you help them, what funds would you bring, what people would you bring, what ideas, what technologies, and then we do need to critique, so 1/3 of the time or less, yes but. So we're going to spend time in that way. So that's sort of the fundamental format.
Chatham House rules.
Yeah, Chatham House rules. So Chatham House rules, for those who don't know, anything that we say, the topic and the conversation itself, we can share, but not who. Because we want people to be able to brainstorm and say, what about this idea? Oh my God, I'm completely wrong, and take it back. So we want to be able to have flexibility around that. And you're welcome to tweet and put stuff out there, but don't put it with someone's name on it. We also don't have any press here, but we welcome people to blog and tweet in that.
Yep. A little change from last year, 2 small changes from last year. One is that Will Patrick, Will, could you stand up for a second? There are a whole bunch of people who've done an amazing amount of work for this to happen, but Will has been our sorcerer, working with me to help find all of the speakers for this year, and to say thank you to him for that sort of beyond the call of duty kind of work that he's done. He's going to be emceeing some tomorrow and on Friday with us. Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
Also, we are trying a new format where many of the talks will be explicitly moonshot proposal talks in this format. But
15 talks in this format.
But we're going to have 3, I believe, what we're calling blue sky talks, where people are explicitly saying, I don't have the solution. I'm missing at least one of those circles, but I can tell you about a problem, and I can tell you what it would take to at least get closer to the solution, or a way for us to get together on what it will take to explore where the solution might be. And so there are going to be a few of those. We'll tag those separately. They're shorter talks, but I think you'll really enjoy those as well. Also, tomorrow night, we're going to have a series of food for thought talks during dinner.
Yeah, so on the blue sky, you could almost think like the top circle is what they're going to do. And they're going to point at some of the others, and our job is to try to illustrate those. And food for thought is an idea. There's an event called Silicon Valley Comes to the UK that a bunch of us go to. And in a Cambridge tradition, where I met Herman Hauser, during dinner, they have regular discussion, and people pop up and do like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, 4 minutes about a particular topic, and we have 4 or 5 people who volunteered to do that. And so we're going to hear from them, which will be a new addition. And then the other big addition is just the website is solveforx.com. And we really have opened it up so anyone can submit moonshots now from around the world. And anyone can share, rate. We're going to add discussions shortly. And so really try to get a collaborative community, like a community-curated, crowd-curated moonshot proposal website. And we've luckily partnered with XPRIZE, with Singularity University, with TED, with MIT Technology Review, with ASU, Arizona State University. Michael Crow was here last year, CSI team, and also this incredible thing that GE has done, Focus Forward features, and it's a series of films about moonshots and technology proposals. So those are going onto the website with all of our talks, and we'll see what we can do, and we'll see what individuals submit.
Right. It's really our goal that this is not the point in the bigger sense. The community online should be the real point, but hopefully this can set the bar high and prime the pump so that people get and stay excited.